So hello and welcome to today's pre-tournament news conference for the National Duals Invitational, sponsored by Paycom. Joining us are the head coaches from the top four seeded teams at the event: Iowa's Tom Brands, Nebraska's Mark Manning, Ohio State's Tom Ryan, and Oklahoma State's David Taylor. Before we get to the head coaches, a few notes about the level of competition that we'll be seeing in Tulsa this weekend. 8 of the top 10 teams in the NWCA coaches poll will be in action, and all 16 teams are either ranked or receiving votes. There are 6 NCAA individual champions in the field, with Ohio State's Jesse Mendez, a 2-time NCAA individual champ. 6 wrestlers competing at the National Duals Invitational are currently ranked number 1 in the nation in their respective weight classes, and 31 are in the top 5. We could see rematches of last year's NCAA title bouts at 125 pounds, 133 pounds, and 141 pounds at this event. So we turn it over now to Tournament Director Matt Serber for some opening remarks on what makes the National Duals Invitational unique. Matt, floor is yours.
Thank you, Gavin. Wow, that's exciting. So, we've been overwhelmed. The support's been overwhelming. It's going to be great competition. What sets this tournament apart really is the $1 million that will be given away. So that's a whole added incentive that creates a lot of excitement to it. So we're excited to kick off the college wrestling season. We're bringing in 16 of the top teams in the country, also with a really strong fan base behind them. So that's what we're excited about. Going to try to fill up the BOK Center there in Tulsa. We've got a good turnout so far on ticket buys. It's still not too late to buy tickets. And in addition to the $1 million giveaway, on Saturday, we are doing a team takedown award. So that's going to add a whole nother level of excitement. Each of the 5 rounds of duels, we will award $10,000 to the team that has the 5 fastest takedowns by average. So at 9 o'clock, kicking off those 4 duels, whichever team gets the 5 fastest takedowns is going to take home an additional $10,000. So all that makes it exciting. Want to make sure that we understand our title sponsor, Paycom, has made the commitment to continue this exciting tournament for years to come. And so we couldn't be more thankful for them and everybody get out and support this tournament this weekend.
Matt, thank you so much. With that, we'll open up to any questions that you may have for the head coaches or for Matt Serber. To ask a question, please click the raise hand button that you could find in the reactions panel. When we see your hand raised, you'll be in the queue to ask a question. We'll do our best to get to everyone before the coaches have to leave at the top of the hour. Our first question comes to us from KJ Pilcher. Go ahead, KJ.
KJ Pilcher with the Cedar Rapids Gazette. This is for Coach Brands and for all the coaches, actually. Why does the purse make this such a difference maker as far as national duels competition? And how does that kind of benefit your programs depending on what you're able to earn at this tournament this weekend?
The purse is unprecedented. The purse is going to be ongoing for as long as Paycom continues to do it. They've said they're going to reinvest their profits. It's unprecedented. You owe it to something like this to be a participant. As far as the disbursement with our team, that's between myself and the boss, and we'll figure that out. You don't do things, you certainly don't wrestle for money. There's money to be made if you're at the very, very best, but you don't do it for that. It's a self-satisfaction that's first, but with the purse, that's why we're here.
Coach Manning, maybe your input on that same question?
I was just reiterating what Tom said, about the opportunity that Paycom has presented to everyone, and the money is really a cherry on top. It's self-satisfaction of competing against really 16 of the best teams out there and a lot of good individual matchups. So, you see where you are early in the season, and Paycom coming up with the idea of a money tournament is, men's basketball has done this for years. And I think, wrestling, our sport, needs good recognition, which Paycom obviously is doing. And I think it's just good incentive.
Thank you, Coach Ryan.
Yeah, grateful for Chad Richardson and his love of the sport. Really fortunate to have a leader like that in the sport, a guy that started a company going door to door as a young man, and now giving back to the sport. So, but I think the big thing here is that this sport absolutely needs a dual meet championship. Do I agree with everything about the timing of this? And no, but it was it was non-negotiable that we attend it because we believe in the dual meets, the importance of dual meets. I think in time, is this time of the year the perfect time for it? No, but it's a start. And the only way you make things happen, I think, long term, is to start with something that makes sense. And this makes enough sense for us all to be here. I think it's a shame that Penn State's not here. We can stick to the positives, but the fact that they're not here is a bit of a sign of how they see things and do things. They should be here. They're not. So we'll focus on all the great coaches that chose to grow the sport. And we're looking forward to it. Obviously with David at Oklahoma State, there's a lot of excitement at Oklahoma State. He's done a tremendous job already in year one. So, we're looking forward to competing in this event.
Coach Ryan, thank you. Coach Taylor, your thoughts, just the uniqueness of the purse, just to put a bundle here on this opening question.
I think we're just in a different era of college athletics, and I think as coaches and as programs, you're always trying to find creative ways to support the different entities that we have. And I think there's the ability to just compete against the best teams in the country. And I think that's what we're all very, very on the same page with. It's just, man, we get to compete against 16 of the best teams in the country. It's a great opportunity for fans to be able to follow their team. And just a combination of dual meets are so unique because you have the individual and the team aspect, and you just get a lot of really good teams over a couple of days to compete. So, really appreciate PAYCOM supporting this and creating something new and exciting for the sport of wrestling. And, now we're looking forward to getting out and actually competing.
Thank you.
Our next question is going to come from Scott Wright. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey guys, Scott Wright from the Oklahoman. For any of the coaches that would like to address this, I'm curious how this event maybe impacted your scheduling philosophy for the year, because now you're adding, potentially 3 really good dual meets. Does that change how you structured your schedules at all going forward from here?
Coach Ryan, you seem to be the most passionate about the scheduling of it. Maybe you're the right person to lead off.
Yeah, we certainly took into account the difficulty early on in an event like you're going to have the tough matches you're going to have. So yeah, we definitely, looked at this event and knew we'd have some tough matches here. So, maybe along the way, we didn't schedule some of the, top tier teams. But, the Big Ten does our scheduling for the most part. We've only got a few open windows. The Big Ten second half of this year, the Big Ten determines who we wrestle, and the Big Ten's loaded with tough teams. So, we're excited that it's a lot of challenges early on. You learn a lot about your team and a lot about your, where you are in the season, and it's early. So it's, from that standpoint, the timing's nice, that you get an opportunity to see where you are against high-level competition. Again, a true national championship shouldn't be in the beginning of the year. It should be the end of the year. But we're not there yet. But this is the best possible option that we had, which is why all these coaches agreed on it.
Coach Taylor, your thoughts on having an event like this at the front end of the schedule?
I think just, going back to my days as a competitor, you want to compete against the best teams, and now having the opportunity as coach to kind of look into those things. I think it's exciting. I think like Coach Ryan said, you end the season with the national tournament, and I love the national tournament. I think the structure of that national tournament is the best event, the best spectacle in the entire world. But this gives us a chance to compete and get in the season, gets the idea of, and I think it'll bring more attention to the on-campus dual meets that we're going to see later in the year. You get a chance to you have the 4-seeded teams, you have the random, there's excitement in the beginning of season. And no one's trying to be perfect, but we're going to go out and compete at a high level. And then these results are going to draw more attention as we wrestle these teams later in the year. I think our program sees 7 teams that are in the national duals and dual meets this year as well. So very challenging schedule. But that's why we're here. That's why we're competing. And that's why the kids are choosing these programs. They want to wrestle the best teams in the country. So I think it's a great start and excited to get going.
Thank you. Our next question is going to come to us from Eli McCown. Go ahead, Eli.
Eli McCowan, Des Moines Register. Question for Coach Brands and probably for the field as well is just, we talked a little bit about the scheduling, this being early in the year. And so when you do face teams of this caliber early on, what are some of those things you're looking to find out about your team when you're on a really big stage like this, wrestling against some top tier opponents?
When you're trying to put a lineup together, you're looking at see if they pass the eyeball test. And this is a date that's been circled and highlighted, and these guys know it. They know what's at stake. They're all driven to grab the bull by the horns and be the guy, especially at those weight classes where they are evenly contested with one or two or three, or I should say 2 or 3 guys. And you know, you got to pass the eyeball test every time. And this is a big eyeball test to pass.
Coach Manning, maybe your insight on that same question?
Yeah, I think this is a good challenge. You know, from the standpoint, I know picking up what Tom Ryan was saying, you know, for years in the Big Ten, we were trying to get dual meets to be more important, and having a dual meet championship is going to build fan bases, and people are going to follow teams more than just individuals. You know, we all like the individual national championship, and we can't get rid of that, but we can find a way to make have a national dual championship be meaningful. And I think this is a great start. And yeah, it's all about finding out what your team's all about right now, early in the year.
Thank you. Our next question is going to come to us from Seth Duckworth. Seth, go ahead.
Question for Matt. I know you go way back with Chad Richardson, back UCO, Total Days, all that stuff. Can you speak to his sort of concept behind this and why he, you know, wanted to take the steps to make this thing happen, and what he saw with this and wrestling and sort of what it can do for wrestling?
Yeah, well, Chad can answer that question a lot better than I can, so I don't want to say a whole lot about that. But what I can tell you is that he really believes in the values of wrestling, and he credits wrestling every day of his life with sustaining his business, with the characteristics he's built within that company. And so he just believes in wrestling. And so he's at an opportunity where he can support the sport. And this is a great way for us to elevate the sport. It's going to be on ESPN2. It's been elevated to ESPN2 on Sunday night. Flow Wrestling is broadcasting it, the first 27 matches. And so we're just thankful for his support. He's going to continue to do that. And so that's where that comes from. He wanted to give back, and there's not a better way to do that than by pouring into this sport. And it's been probably a little over a year in the making. So kudos to Chad Richardson and his mindset behind that.
Thank you, Matt. We'll go back to KJ Pilcher. Go ahead, KJ.
Matt already started to touch on this a little bit, but for the coaches, how important was it for this first iteration of the National Duals to have a platform like Flow, streaming 27 duels, and then the finals actually being on kind of the ESPN2, which has been a vital platform for the national tournament overall?
Coach Taylor, this seems a good one for you to chime in on as well after Matt. But go ahead, Matt. You go ahead. Go for it. Go ahead. Go first.
Yeah, I just think that, one of our ideas is try to elevate the sport. And so it's a great sport. Everybody involved in it knows the values that wrestling's taught them. And so being able to have Flow, have the media rights to broadcast the first 27 matches where everybody can watch, and then on ESPN2. But that's, we've got a great crowd that's going to show up. Our ticket sales have been going really good. So it's going to be a fun event for everybody to follow along.
Very good. Coach Taylor, I mean, you're kind of known as one that's, used to having cameras around and having exposure for your guys, kind of what this means and how it applies for national duels.
Yeah, I think just continue trying to push the sport forward. I think, kids are growing up and they're seeing, these big events and they want to be a part of it. And I think in wrestling, it's our responsibility as sport to grow it and to try and make an impact and create cool opportunities for not only the wrestlers, but for the fans. So when you're there in person, like, you're going to get a chance to, like you said, you're going to watch 28 dual meets, over 2 days, and you get to follow your team, and you can see the ups and the downs and the emotions of that, which I think is awesome. And if you're across the country and you can't make it, it's just a consistent platform. Flow has done a great job promoting our sport, and it's consistent. People are watching stuff on Flow all the time. And then ESPN is it's what carries the national tournament. And for us to be considered at that level, we want the consistency to be able to elevate our brands of our programs and our athletes. And it just keeps everything just in line. So very much. Like you start the national duels in the beginning of the year and you get it. And now you get to follow the momentum during the season, and then you get to complete with the national tournament at the end of the year. I just think it's going to be a great season, and looking forward to just the opportunity that we have for coming ahead.
Coach Brands, maybe if you can kind of chime in on the development of how broadcast networks have really kind of grown the sport. You know, it started, wrestling was not really covered as much, and the Big Ten network really opened up a lot of doors. And now we're at this phase, and maybe just kind of talking about that progression that you've seen as your time as the head coach of the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, I grew up in Iowa. Iowa public television was a big, hey, that's what you ran to your TV. You turned it on and you watched the biggest duels, whether it was Iowa, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, or whatever was on. So that's probably the genesis for me. But I'll tell you, I think this Paycom guy, this Chad Richardson, I think he is hell bent to get this thing where it's going to be on the ESPN. And, you know, Flo certainly worthy. Flo certainly gives it credibility. ESPN2 gives it credibility. But in a way, you know what, ESPN, you missed something. You missed something, because this is going to be around. And let's get this thing put on prime time on the one. And that's, I think, the whole deal. And this isn't about whether, you know, it's sustainable or not. This is about, you know, putting an entertaining product out there. And, you know, how are these guys going to compete? You're going to have an opportunity to compete. Go compete.
Coach Ryan and Jesse Mendez, you have, you know, one of the most decorated wrestlers in the whole field. Maybe your view and the perception that you see of how your guys do when they are on this kind of large national stage.
Well, Jesse, I mean, obviously Jesse's an ultra competitor, and, you know, the grander the stage, the better he's wrestled. So that's good. We're glad he's on our team. And looking forward to seeing how he does. There's a lot of tough guys. It never gets easy to win a championship. So the fact that you have two guarantees nothing. He's excited to wrestle. He loves the team aspect of the sport. As much as he loves winning titles, he's a team guy, and nothing speaks to team more than this event. And I'll say this, for me, there's some real superstars on here as coaches. I mean, obviously Brands, and you got two Olympic champions on the call. Obviously Manning was tough as heck too. We have two Olympic champions that were great at wrestling for a long time. For me, my story is a little different, right? The team aspect of the sport kept me in it. I started wrestling in 7th grade, jumping on a yellow bus and traveling with 20 of my buddies and go fight some kids from another town was about the coolest thing I could have ever been a part of. And I wasn't a superstar. You know, I wasn't a superstar as a young person, you know, and it was the team concept that kept me in the sport. It was being around people I liked, you know, and experience a team aspect. And that's where the gold is in this sport. I mean, we've seen that with the All-Star meet, right? The All-Star meet attracts, but it doesn't attract like a dual meet. I mean, dual meets, and you have all the stars at the All-Star meet. But so the team aspect is where it's at. And we're just grateful that Chad, Paycom, Oklahoma State, you know, has put together something that makes enough sense to us to all be here. So excited about it.
Thanks so much, Coach Manning. You know, you've been around on the international level, and you're so deeply embedded with USA Wrestling. And you know, Coach Taylor referenced how NCAAs is the greatest tournament in the world. You've seen the college side, you've seen the freestyle side. Can you see the National Duals Invitational and kind of this exposure coming this early in the season from national TV kind of elevating not only dual wrestling, but just another bump for college wrestling, and how this tournament this weekend contributes to that and really opens that door?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great opportunity for college wrestling to really get on the map more with fans that don't know much about wrestling. And that's how we build fan bases, is by teams. Universities are formed, and fans are formed by following their team, following their university, right? And all of us at all our different universities have people that don't know much about our wrestling, or know very little, or maybe they know about Jesse Mendez at Ohio State, but now they know about their team, right? And it's a big difference. And that's how we need to look at, you know, building the brand that we have, university brands, And that's how we need to grow our sport. Our sport is in desperate need to get more publicity, more on TV, like Coach Brands was saying. We need to be the highlight reel. We got a great product. We just need more people to see it more often.
Well said. All right. So we've got only a couple minutes left, maybe time for one more question before the coaches have to take off here at the top of the hour. If you have a question, just go ahead and click that raise hand button. All right. Our final question is going to come to us from Tony Hager. Go ahead, Tony.
Coaches, we've kind of seen some new events struggle with attendance. Obviously, we're going to be well represented on Flow and ESPN. What is the message to fans to why they should attend or watch? These early tests, are they going to see the number ones compete throughout the bracket, or are we going to see some new faces? What are your guys' overall thoughts on why fans should attend?
Coach Manning, can you please take that one first?
Well, I think this one, it's used to be National Duals, but never this early. It was always, early January. And now this is more of a highlight. What Chad Richardson's developed is this is more the highlight of the beginning of the season, seeing where basically the top 16 teams, unfortunately, Penn State decided not to come, but we're going to be able to see wrestling at its best, and there's going to be upsets. That's what the exciting part of this thing is you're going to see a lot of different results now than in March, and vice versa. And that's what wrestling's all about. But we need to promote our sport, more like this each and every year, and that's how we're going to grow it. So,
Coach Taylor, you're here right in the backyard of the BOK Center. So why should people attend this? Why should people watch National Duals?
As a sport, like I said earlier, like it's our obligation as coaches and as athletes and as fans to continue to move the sport forward. And this is a pretty awesome event. Like how often you get a chance to watch, like I said, 28 dual meets in one weekend. How many high level matches are you going to watch? So just supporting that goes a long way. It goes a long way to supporting all of our programs, the athletes that are part of our programs. We want to move our sport forward, and there's always a lot of conversation around that. Well, then we have to do it. And we have to support these things. And I think that's really important. Getting this event started and off to a good start, it's going to be great for the sport of wrestling. I just think everybody wants to wrestle in front of people. That's what makes it fun. You want a full gym, and we want the support of a fan base cheering on one side and another fan base cheering on the other side, and like that involvement, that's just one of a kind. And that's what makes wrestling special. So, looking forward to that. And as anything else, you got to start, and then you can grow from there. And, but overall, really excited and looking forward to the opportunity.
All right. I think that's a great way to end it. Coach Brands, Coach Ryan, any just final thoughts, anything that's important to you that you want to make sure that is said here before we wrap up this call?
Tom, you want to go first?
Hey, good job, everybody. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I'll just say we're coming. So why fans, we're coming to win. Every team here is coming to win. Dual meets during the year, fan base, sometimes wrestling gets this bad rap of you sit somebody to protect a seed, or maybe he's a little dinged up and it just makes a lot of sense to not wrestle him. If you're a little dinged up on my team right now, a little dinged up and we need you, you're going. So in a dual meet during the year, later in the year, maybe you hold them and just you're a little more careful. This weekend is about winning this event. So the fans can know that I would be shocked if any coach here, if a guy's healthy enough to go, doesn't go. So they should all know as they buy their tickets, you're going to see the matchups you want to see. And thanks to Chad for making it enough money. And Tom Brand said this early on. It ain't solely about the money, but the $200K would be nice, and we want it.
That's amazing. Coach, thank you so much. Matt Serber, you're the tournament director. We led with you. I think it's fitting maybe that you have the last word. The floor is yours.
Hey, I'm just so amazed by the support and the help. People willing to jump on board to support this, and like we've said, grateful for Chad Richardson for pony up the money to do it. And everybody get out to Tulsa this weekend. If not, catch it on ESPN or Flow Wrestling, and excited about it.
All right. Well, thanks to everybody for participating, the head coaches, Matt, all the media. We appreciate you, and we'll see you all in Tulsa this weekend.